welcome back to another episode of Combustion RC. In this one, we're going to be actually doing something that I've been saying I'm going to do since like September of last year when I first started this channel, and I haven't yet. We're going to be going through how to paint a body. So this is the 1987 Monte Carlo body for the street stock, and I'm going to show you what I do to prepare the body, prep the body for paint, and then kind of how I paint it. It's going to kind of suck because it's still sub-zero temperatures outside Fahrenheit. So yeah, it's another wonderful day of I think it was minus 21 this morning without the wind chill, so cold. Anyway, we've got the front tires on the street stock. We have the rear tires that are supposed to come in today to the hobby shop. I took the 17.5 system that I had sitting here from the Pro 2 from summer and put it in here, and the extra 1256 TG that I had put in here as well. That's not what I'm putting in the car to run for dirt oval. That's why I didn't do a video on it just yet. This will be getting a Reedy low profile servo, so the front weight is a little lighter. And then the Reedy Black Box 610R with a 13.5 Reedy motor. Same with the 6.4, I haven't done it yet because this 1256 TG is technically for the 6.4. And then I'm going to be putting another Reedy Black Box 610R in that with a 6.0 DE motor. And then I need to get the A-mod front bumper and body for it, the UMP modified body. So that part is still yet to come. Let's see, today's Wednesday, so tomorrow we have our on-road points race for this guy here, which got second in last week. So that was awesome. Finally got the car dialed in. I'm way down there in points, so I'm not really even worried about it because I had to work 1 week, had band practice another week, and then 2 weeks I ended up being sick. So I missed 2 weeks because there's 2 throws, so I technically missed 2 weeks. But the Pro 2 is set up for oval as well. I've got that ready to rock. Needs a modified body still, but it's ready to rock the way it sets. It'll be fine for doing oval on the carpet. Once I'm actually running oval, they will get a modified body as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Go ahead and set our car to the side because we won't need that for a little while. To kind of give you just a quick idea of what we're going to be going through, we're going to be trimming up the body, mounting it on the posts, then washing it and drying it. And what I do for that, because there is a specific thing that I do to make sure that it doesn't get gross or the paint doesn't adhere. And then we're also going to be going through and putting the window mask in and painting it. And because of how cold it is, I'm going to show you how I paint it when it's this cold. So we're going to be going over to the front door, and we're going to be in and out the door and with a hairdryer. To get my paint scheme, we're going to be using the Spastics rattle cans here with the fluorescent pink, fluorescent yellow, and the white. And that will be to get basically the same paint scheme as this, but on the street stock body. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. So per usual, we just need to rip it open. I actually usually save this bag to put my trimmings into so that there's something they're in that's a little bit thicker than putting them straight into the trash can, because these trimmings will cut through the trash can. So in your bag, you'll have this sleeve right here, which has your car stickers, as well as the window mask sheet. And I'm gonna use my X-Acto to cut this open. Now, unlike the old days, there is something that you have to do now, which is really annoying. I wish companies would go back to laser cutting. These used to be laser cut. You now have to use an X-Acto and trim out each and every sticker. Guys, can we go back to laser cutting our stickers? Because it makes it easier to put them on the cars. Thank you. In here, you also have your mounts for your rear spoiler, because that is on here as well. If you look at the body, you can actually see the rear spoiler. You have to cut out of this extra sheet of Lexan that's sticking out the back, but there is our Monte Carlo body, or window masks, and then the little JConcepts painting and body prep tips. This is actually really good information. Warm soapy water, dry with lint-free towel. That's what we're gonna do. So the way that we're gonna do this though, is that we're gonna trim it first and then cut it. If you need to pause this video right here and go to the store, you're going to need paper towel, the cheapest paper towel you can purchase. This stuff is like $3 for 6 rolls. The cheaper the better, because the cheap stuff does not have lotions in it. The more expensive stuff has lotions in it so that, you know, your hands stay soft. And so you don't want that because the lotions will leave residue on the body and then the paint won't adhere to it. So you want the cheapest paper towel possible. The other thing you're going to want to need is Dawn dish soap. So Dawn dish soap has a little bit more aggressive grease fighting And then one thing you want to do, it kind of sucks if you're in the north and it's dry because your hands look like this, but rub your hands down with rubbing alcohol so that all the oils are off of your hands. That way that you don't get fingerprints in the body, especially before you put your window masks in. That's the most important time to do that, because you're going to already have a clean, prepped, and ready body. And then you're going to be inside of it like this, putting your window mask down. And that's when you really want to have the oil-free hands. For now, we're just going to be getting into it and cutting. So I'm going to raise the camera up and flip it down so you can kind of see how I trim, because there are certain things I cut off first just to make some trimming a little easier. All right, so I'm not sure how the audio is going to be because you're actually raised up about twice the height you usually are. You're actually in my spot lamp right now. You're so high. You're going to need your curved Lexan shears that look like this. These are well used, so they might not cut that great. But the first thing we're going to want to do is cut this rear lip off so that we can get some more flexibility to this Lexan. So if you weren't sure about RC bodies and what kind of material this is, and you think it's just clear plastic, it is actually a material called Lexan, which is why it's so flexible without breaking. It's the same thing that NASCAR windshields are made out of, which I always find that to be kind of a fun fact. Now there is an overspray film in this. I'm not painting the lip spoiler, but there is an overspray film in this that you can actually see. Yeah, it looks like it's on this side because I can scratch at it. That will come off. But if you, I don't know if you can see in that camera there, but there's a little line that's just slightly imprinted on there. That's where we're gonna actually be cutting at. I'll do this, put a red line on there so that maybe the camera helps focus on it. You can kind of see the rest of it. You can see there, that little line. You're gonna just cut around this little corner here. And then if you're not perfectly straight, it's not the end of the world. Just do your best. There's ways that some guys get that perfectly straight line. You can cut just above it and then use a Protoform makes a really cool like bit that you can put onto a Dremel that's a drum sanding wheel, that's a stone wheel. That's really nice to use. And let's go ahead and just cut this big curvature off of here so that we don't have to fight it while we're cutting along this line. Sometimes you have to double cut areas just like this because like this thing is at a 90-degree angle the opposite direction of where actually we need to cut, so it's trying to move the scissors away. But anyway, some guys will cut above that line and then Dremel it down so it's smooth, or use a bar sander. Some other guys will use an X-Acto knife to cut along that line, which you can do. I actually might do it on the body to get a straight line on the bottom. I don't like doing that very often because it is an easy way to cut yourself. And even if it has a squared edge, like that has a squared edge, I still try to round it. Same with this one. Because a round corner doesn't break as easy as a square corner does. And you can barely make them out, but there's a screw hole there, 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 and there. Looks like there might be 4 of them. There's 3. This says there's 4, yes, okay. And they're just little dimples in there. And on the body, there should be little dimples on the trunk lid to match up. But I'm not seeing any. Are they on the, oh, they're on the rear deck. Okay, so on the rear deck, there's holes dimpled in here to match up. So now that we've got our spoiler cut out, we'll set our spoiler aside with our window masks and things. That you don't have to worry about cleaning. Just don't forget to take your mask off at the end, which we will. If you're painting it, you'll need that mask to stay on there. Now we're gonna go around and cut out our front and rear bumpers. I usually start with the lowest possible line just to try to get that as even as possible. And yes, with curved shears, you do have to take smaller cuts. You can't take as many big cuts as the straight ones. But, in my opinion, have more control because you can get around places like that. Or I just had to go around there. So those are cut off. I'm gonna pick that up for a step on it because let me tell you something, this stuff does go into your skin very easy and it hurts to step on. Ask me how I know. Now we're gonna trim out this rear bumper area right here. This is also when curved shears are handy because you have to go around all these little curves. Straight shears won't do that for you. But there's our rear cut out. Now, if you notice on the side, there is this panel that comes up. So if you cut that panel off, it's gonna give it that angled up, kind of like sportsman look like you'd see on a dirt oval. Whereas the straight side is gonna give it more of that 80s street stock look. I'm actually probably gonna cut these off because I kind of like that sportsman slant. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that right now, actually. I didn't want to cut it off at first because I wanted to show you the difference there. And like I said, always round off your corners. Because a round corner means less breaky break. If you notice, I'm curving down, I'm not going up around the wheel look, so I don't want to do that just yet. Especially on this side, because this side has a little bit of overlap from the mold. So anytime you have an overlap, which is like this, where it curves back out away from the body, you want to cut that whole strip off before you trim the body, because that will fight against you the entire time. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to start at the front corner. We're going to go up to the front corner of the front bumper and across. I'm just going to curve that down at the wheel well. And the reason I do that is because I want to be able to do the wheel well itself. I also don't want to get too carried away on the side here because, like I said, I'm going to do the X-Acto and try to get that nice straight line. Now that that's cut off, now we can actually, you don't have to do all these, but this is the best way to keep from getting the body fighting against you. So I'm going to go around my wheel well. Again, you can take the Dremel tool to this when you're done and make it real smooth so you don't have to worry about any harsh edges or cuts. Let's see if I can do the X-Acto trick or if it's gonna bite me in the butt. Oh, dang it. I slapped. This is kind of thin on the bottom on this one, so it's a little harder to just run across and keep a score. Keeps wanting to curve off there. And then after a couple of scores, you should be able to fold it and then just peel it off. Sometimes you get a little spot you need to trim, but then you don't get those scissor marks along the line as bad. Of course, I wiggled a lot. Apparently I haven't done that in so long that I almost can't do it. Come on, cut along the line. You know, like kindergarten, cut along the line. Apparently I need to go back to kindergarten. Goodness. All right, this side I'm gonna see about doing, since this is thin, before I cut the wheel wells out. There we go, that's better. All right, now we're gonna go cut our wheel wells out. Some people have a lot steadier hand than I do. I kind of get shaky, so I blame the ADHDs. I'll just fold that over too. And curl up. Like I said, this is what it looks like when you don't take all those trimmings off. If you're doing a short course truck like the Proline Flowtech or the JConcepts S2 or F2 or any of those, especially buggies, you will have to cut off those flat side pieces first because those things carry so much tension that they make it a pain in the butt. If you are sending a body to a painter, do not do that. Leave it just like it is in the package. Don't put the window masks in, especially if it's something that's going to be, you know, if you're saying it's like, you know, KG Graphics down in Florida, for instance, who has like a 6 to 8 week backup. Don't cut anything. Don't put window masks in because then they can get stuck to the windows and then you get a body back with your window mask still in because they're literally stuck to your car and they won't come off. They're like glued. This is a little notch in the front we gotta cut out here. But your painters use liquid mask. They don't use the window mask because they're drawing a design on the outside of the body on the overspray film and then looking through, because you paint these bodies on the inside. So they draw the design on the outside of the body. That's your paint job's gonna be. They spray in a few layers of liquid mask, and then you can see through it, and then they'll use their X-Acto and they'll run along what they have drawn. And then that's how they will do, I just put scratches in it. Oh, dang it. Hopefully that's just in the overspray film. But anyway, they'll get things in there that, you know, do the job better than just spray film. So our body is now trimmed out. So now once the body's trimmed out, that's when we bring the car back over. Set your body on top of the car, like so. I don't have rear wheels yet, so I'm just kind of aligning with the front. Well, that kind of sucks. My body posts are going to be right where the curve of the hood is, right there. Dang, there's no way to make that narrower either. Well, darn. Oh well, we'll figure it out. So this is the way that I do it. I get my fronts marked first. To grab you a Sharpie, mark your centering point. If you don't have one of these, you're going to need to get one. If you get the Sticky Kicks tool set that I always suggest, you already have one. This is a body reamer. So this opens up and it's got a very point thing that has your millimeter size for the holes. So we're going to set our car to the side. These are tricky because they're on the curve, so just gonna push right in the point of that curve. Let's give it a little wiggle until that point falls through, and then just start screwing. And these look to be probably 8mm, maybe 6. Go up a little bit more past 6 since we're on that curve. We're gonna go up to 7 for a start. Now you'll notice that you get Lexan pieces sticking up and frays and whatnot. Then you go back over to this side, push through the pieces that didn't fall off. Use your thumbnail and put them back in the hole. Then go back through from the bottom. Give it a quick rotate. Bring your car back over on the sand. Set the front of your body on. Spin it around. And now that the front is on, you can see that the back is lined up pretty good. If it's offset to the right just a little bit, that's kind of cool because that's how the real cars are. So I actually usually try to offset it to the right just a touch. Or to the left, I mean. Yeah, to the right. Makes it look like it's steering left. Just like that, we'll do that. You can see we're about 2mm off of dead center. So giving it just a little bit of offset, just like the real oval cars are offset just a little bit, where that left rear sticks out of the body just a hair and the right rear is kind of tucked up in the body. Just helps keep things in motion when you're going around circles. So then we're gonna grab our hole reamer again. 7mm was perfect, so we're gonna do 7 on this side or on the back as well. Uh-oh, we gotta, there we go. Sometimes it'll start to try to split the Lexan on you. And you gotta be careful with that. That's when you push too hard without spinning. And that's what happened on that one. I pushed too hard and it went in without spinning. So it didn't actually ream it out, it just kind of starting to split it. Hopefully I caught it before it got too bad. Try to get these little pieces. These do get in your foot. I have stepped on the corkscrew ones more than I can count, and they have to be corkscrewed out. They don't just pull out of your foot. Yeah, talk about painful. We're done with our reamer now. And put it back in your tool bag, because we will not need to cut, ream, trim, or do anything else with anything else. Now, we go on to washing. All right, so unfortunately, I realize I'm out of Dawn dish soap. So I'm gonna use the Palmolive Free and Clear, or Pure and Clear. This stuff is no unnecessary things. It's clear. It tends to actually, I've used it before and it was okay, so I'm gonna try it again. We'll see how it does. But you're gonna need warm water, your body, And what I usually do is just grab your bottle and just lightly sprinkle some in there. It doesn't need to be heavy, just some light sprinkles. Get it to where it's hot, but not too hot. Get your rag. This is a clean rag, by the way. And just start rubbing her down. And then rinse it off real good. You don't need to scrub at it. You don't need to do anything like that. You're just knocking the oils off is all you're doing. So, like that. Lighten up the pressure through the outside of the body because you don't want water getting down in the holes that you just cut out right here, because the water can actually lift up the overspray film. And set it aside. Come over here to your paper towel. And I usually do just a single sheet at a time. That way you can make sure you're getting it all. Get the body dried off. Make sure you're getting down in every groove. That way you can see what's on the inside. Now I know that the water drops I have left are on the inside. Not a single water drop left. All right, so this point is when you're going to need to have your clear body, your paint ready by the door, because you don't want to spray inside. It is way too fumy to do inside. If you're like me and you're in a cold climate, you're going to need a hair dryer. Otherwise, spray it in the sun. Just kind of wave it around for a couple seconds and you'll be dry. It only takes it, if you're in the sun, it's like 75 degrees, like you would be in Florida right now, I'm assuming. Yeah, it only takes like 10-15 minutes for it to dry between coats, if that. You can actually coat between, on a nice warm sunny day, every like 30 to 45 seconds. So a full cure, I do let it sit overnight for full cure. Don't ever try to get a full cure in like a couple hours. That's not ever good. I'm gonna grab the hair dryer because, like I said, it is colder than, it's cold. So I'm gonna grab the hair dryer so that I can dry between coats, grab my paint. I got my body here ready to go. The door is right there. And we're gonna get this one painted for you. All right, so just know that during this process is a very high likelihood that you are going to get paint on your fingers or your thumb, on a coat that you're wearing or whatever you may be wearing if it's windy outside, because you're gonna hold the body and you're gonna paint it. So yeah, good luck. We're doing the paint first, which is gonna be on the front. It's gonna be right here. It's gonna pretty much stop right where the windshield, actually, oh my gosh, I almost forgot window masks. All right, so we've alcoholed our hands. We're now ready for window masks. Got our window masks here. So we're gonna start with our side windows. I usually start with this side here, which is gonna be this guy here, because as you can see, it's like that. These can be a little bit tricky, but at least these JConcepts window masks are really nice and easy to deal with since they are a nice vinyl. Just don't get them creased. There we go. Just make sure it's pushed down really good all the way around. And onto our rear one. Okay. You will need to use a sharp X-Acto knife blade to get these off. And we'll do that while the paint is still a little bit wet. So you have to be careful not to get your hands in there either. Otherwise, you can actually peel the paint out if you do it when it's dry. And that's the last thing we want to do after all this work. Right? All right. We're gonna do our windshield, which is the big one. These are a little bit more tricky. Kind of line up the points. Set your points down. Let it drop, and then push the middle up and run it out. You might have to do the pick and fold again. But that's the best way I've come across doing it. Uh-oh, got a kink there. Oh no, I didn't get that up in time. Oh, just make sure it's pressed down really tight. We're gonna cut that off. It's gonna be white anyway, so I'll show you how to do the rings around the windows to make it look like a nice race car paint job. This is when having a little bit of a belly helps, because you can hold it off the desk with your belly. Looks like a third hand that way, right? Okay, now we're ready to go paint. Starting off with the fluorescent pink for the front third of the body. The part that sucks about painting when it's so cold is you do get runs really easy. When you see it turn to a matte finish like this, that's when you know it's ready for coat 2. Now you may be thinking, why did I let all that overspray hit in there? I did that on purpose because that's actually how I get my like pink to orange to yellow to white flame look, like a tropical flame burst, is I let that overspray blow up. That's why I don't mask anything off. So now that our pink is done, we're gonna go to 2 coats of the fluorescent yellow. Now we've got our first coat of light coat of yellow on. You can kind of see that fade starting and that kind of flame burst coming out off that pink into the yellow. And that is why, that's why I do that. And now we're ready for coat 2 of the yellow. I do bring the yellow forward into the pink a little bit to help with that orange fade transition as well. All right, now we're gonna do the back with the white and the whole car in white. That will help make the bright colors pop even more because it'll give it a backing. And then after it dries, we'll peel that overspray film off, and then we'll get the window mask out before that. But for now, it's gonna be the 2 coats of yellow, 2 coats of pink. The white is gonna start back here and come all the way forward with 1 dusting, and then a full another coat for the whole thing. So remember, you're just trying to dry the paint, not boil it. All right, coat 2 of the white across the entire body. All right, our white is fully finished, and as you can see, I decided not to do the white around the windows because what stock car has white around the windows? They're always just cut out and just sheet metal. So decided since it's a street stock, we won't do the white around the windows on this one. All right, so now that that's done, I got you sitting on a towel over here because my tripod is covered in ice. Yeah, it's that cold outside. So you're gonna grab your X-Acto, gonna peel just up under the corner. If you can get it wedged under there. And then roll it back and try to press it down so it doesn't flip back, and that's when you're gonna grab. So make sure you don't put your hand down on the paint on the inside because it's still a little bit tacky. You're just gonna set that aside. So there's our window mask out. Hopefully that spray is, yep, on the outside. All right, so then we're gonna take our film off the outside. So you see here it says there's a film on the outside. The best way to do that is to grab underneath where you did your body ream. Should be able to grab a little piece of it and start peeling it up with the tip of the X-Acto. Once you get some more peeled up, go ahead and pull the blade up until it pops through. That gives you something to grab. Because this stuff is thin, very, very thin. there is our painted street stock body. So that's what she's gonna look like. It's gonna look better once we get the decals on. I'm gonna go ahead and leave you rolling while I cut out the decals. That way you can kind of see why I get so perturbed that these companies don't laser etch anymore, because these decals take so long to cut out. So I'm gonna flip it upside down and set it on top of the couch here, which is on the back side of the desk. We'll mount this up when we're done as well. I don't like doing this kind of stuff until it's cured. So that's why we haven't done that yet. And for that, we'll use 3mm drill bits so that we get these screws nicely in size there. Yeah, 3mm. All right, now obviously we're dirt racing, so I'm not gonna need headlights. So I'm using my dirt badges here. Same with the turn signals. Doot, 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 doot. Everything's gonna be black out. Bring our body back over here. Oh look, overspray film. Let's get our window and net in place first. That's just too cool to not put in there first. That's our street stock build. Pretty awesome. All right, so we're gonna get this thing on the oval on this weekend and kind of see how it is. And we'll see you this weekend.